Well, good morning. And ladies and gentlemen, either it's 10:30 or it's 11:30. It kind of depends on where you are in the world. I'm here in the happy Midwest, and Mary Jo's over there in New York time zone. So there it is. But either way, I'm incredibly excited to talk to my old friend here. Mary Jo has an amazing background. If I ask her to tell about all the about her whole background, that would be the end of it. That would be the whole blog. So what we will do about that is we'll have a biography of her many, 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 many. You get the idea? Accomplishments. She is certainly an expert in the field and has done many a thing. So that said, hey folks, in case you're wondering, I'm establishing her expertise here, but that will be in the written part of the blog, and there'll be links to all of her materials and things like that. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is this. The Phonics Handbook. And it really is. I've looked at this uh, and it's just amazing. If you're a teacher who's kind of going, I'm supposed to know all this phonics stuff, and the kids are asking me, I don't know what to. Here it is. Okay, so it's kind of like that kind of a book if you want it to be. If you wanted to turn it into your own kind of, we're just going to build our whole program around this book. She has 6 different routines that could be used, or it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter what uh, program you're using.
Mhm.
Uh, when it comes time to, oh my God, the kid's asking me a question I don't know. Here we go. Uh, that said, don't forget that when you're doing that, the the name of the game is to make sure that the kids internalize those. Just naming a strategy that doesn't cut it completely. Uh, Even saying the steps of a strategy that doesn't cut it completely. Uh, Internalizing the strategy so that they actually use it. That's the name of the game. So however else you use this book, make sure that at the end of the day, the kid knows what to do because of that particular rule. And There it is. So that all said, um, I'm going to ask Mary Jo to kind of take things over here, and at this point, you can say a little bit about your credentials, but come on, we're keeping this to 20 minutes. So uh, in the meantime, just tell us about the Phonics Handbook itself, the highlights that you want us to know. You gave me a number of really amazing anecdotes. I'd love to hear some of those, and then there at the end we'll say it's time to wrap it up. So I've done all the talking, and now I'm going to change the view here so that it's going to switch over to you, Mary Jo, and it's all you from this point forward. Dr. Sam's going to shut up till the end. It's all you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your interest in the book. I will tell you quickly, I started as a third grade teacher and was teaching phonics in a synthetic program with a lot of terrible poems and stories in it, but there you go. That's what we had. I was telling Sam earlier, we had a poem called Little Roan Foal because the program really wanted us to learn OA words. But I was from the city and I had to look up roan because I didn't know that was a color of a horse. I knew foal was a horse. My kids, anyway, I never taught that poem again. It was too complex and the content was just beyond the kids. And then over the years, I've worked my way to where I'm teaching teachers, both pre-service and in-service. In the state of Ohio, pre-service teachers are required to take a phonics course if they were going to be certified K-8. And I taught that course. And I found that a lot of my students didn't have the phonics background they need it in order to teach it. It's really hard to teach something that you yourself don't understand very well. And a lot of them would say, well, I got this question and I just told them, well, that's an exception. So we actually outruled that sentence in my classroom. You were not allowed to say a word was an exception There are some, but there's so few. What you needed to do was dig into it. And when we dig into the words with the students, it makes it memorable to them. And it's always about that, orthographic mapping. How do we get that to hang in their heads of what's the sound and what letters could possibly make it? And so we're talking about having students understand why words are the way they are in our English language. And there's lots and lots of explanations for that. So anyway,
I'm going to
yeah,
interrupt you for
yeah.
just a minute because you hit a bing, a bell that I want to ring here. Uh, so, how long did you teach that course, and how long ago?
I taught the course for, probably 20 years. and
Okay.
and it's still going on at Ohio State. And but I retired 10 years ago. But it was, the middle school people were really hard. They were like, I don't need phonics. And I said, oh no, do you have content vocabulary you're trying to teach? Phonics isn't just about long A and the IGH pattern. It's Greek and Latin roots. It's all of those, that vocabulary. If you're teaching try, how do you sound across it? What does that mean in a word that you have in math? And so by the end of the semester, I had them. They
Oh,
said, I agree, because they can't read the material, they can't learn the material.
okay. So what I'm hearing from you is that in Ohio, anyway, students coming through courses like yours were getting all that information. And by the way, we'll mention it, we'll put the book up again and mention that, gosh, if you need that information, it's all here in your handbook so that you can go back and touch on that. So I've had many a person say, "Oh dear, uh, the typical universities aren't teaching that stuff." Well, I'm sorry, yours. Yours is an exceptional university, but they have been teaching that stuff and had been for a long time, even predating the some of the current movements. So
Yes.
I just had to ring that bell. I'm sorry. Okay, it's all you again. Take it over.
Oh, that's fine. Well, and the roots of this book are, I actually made recordings for my students that were burned on CDs. That's when you used to put the CD into your car or your little player, your Walkman. And every CD was a chapter that this book now has. So we had a CD that they listened to. I did a whole podcast, if you will, on short vowels and how those work in our language, and how do we think about this in terms of the English language. So those podcasts became the roots of this book, so that every chapter focuses on some specific aspect of phonics that teachers need to understand themselves, because if you can wrap your head around it, you can better turn it around and explain it to students and make them understand and be able to apply that. It's all about them internalizing it and then taking it and doing it on their own independently. So you mentioned the routines. There's a chapter where I have 6 different routines that you can use any phonics program, even if you have a phonics program. These are great for a learning center, or when you're done with your other work, here's a routine. So if you tell the students, the routine is called Build It. And once they learn the routine, you just change out the materials. So it's quick, it's fast, it's an easy way to add on to any program that you have, because it gives you the example of how do you have students do this particular routine, and then you provide that content that fits with what you're teaching in the class. And you save a lot of time, because once they learn the routine, you don't have to keep explaining to them, what to do. And there are, on my website, oddly named maryjofresh.com, anything in this book that you can see, there's a download there for you. So if you go to my website, you'll see the Phonics Handbook. Click on that, and then the different activities, the routines. For instance, let's see if I can show you one. Here's one of my favorites. This is Violet, who is doing the Build It, and she got the letters. Those letters, that sheet that you can download, print, and cut apart and have your students do, is there on the website for you to use.
Oh, uh, and again, I'll say there's a written. This is the uh, YouTube part of the broadcast, but there will be a written blog, and all that information, plus any information you think folks should have,
Okay.
will be there. And I know that you and David have done some amazing things. Could you talk about that a little bit? Some of the things that you and David have done in the past, and what you've got waiting for us in the future. Oh my God, you've got something waiting for us in the future.
Well,
So,
yes, Dave and I actually have done nine
oh,
books.
just in case, David Harrison.
David, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. David L. Harrison, the who just finished his term as poet laureate of the state of Missouri, and is a children's poet and writes the most amazing stuff. And David and Tim Rosinski and I did two books for Scholastic that were on partner poems and word ladders. And I have phonics and content activities that go with those. David and I did a book for NCTE on vocabulary, and that's a middle grades book. And again, we're using his writings, his work, and it's helping students get their vocabulary built and in place. And it's about building the independence, right? If we're doing our job, the children ought to be able to go ahead without us, be able to read without us, be able to write without us, and have some skills and strategies they can fall back on their own. What David and I, we just turned over this book, the Phonics Handbook, is with Stenhouse, which is a Rutledge publication. David and I just turned files over. There's going to be a companion to this book that is a poetry collection, and it's 101 decodable poems. So, we have a lot of this out here. The science of reading has moved us into, well, we need to be giving students things that they can read. I get that. We want to have students feel success, and we want them to practice what they're learning. And through that practice, they internalize that information and can then take it off fluently on their own and build their comprehension and read other things outside of what we give them. But a lot of decodable text is pretty stilted and kind of boring. So David, I asked David to write poetry, and he did not disappoint. There are 101 poems. They are all focused. They follow the chapters that we have in the Phonics Handbook. So we go through the vowels, we go through consonant digraphs, blends, rhyme families. Anyway, the poems are delightful. There's actually a storyline, is what I could call it, because you'd be able at the end of it to talk with students about what happened in the poem. And so you've got some comprehension. The students can read and reread, so you have your fluency practice. I have phonics activities that go with every poem, and it's going to be an amazing, a nice companion to this handbook that I think Stenhouse, they do a beautiful job publishing. So I'm very happy with the handbook. It's got so much information. It's packed with information for teachers. There's also these beautiful appendices that I created, so that if you're like, wait, what was that thing about the vowels? You can flip to the back to the appendix on vowels, and it gives you the outline. There's a nice chart on all of those routines. So you've got that time, you can go back and review. Now, how do I differentiate this routine? How do I do it for a small group? How do I do it whole group? And so there's some differentiation in all those routines as well.
Amazing. Now, I totally understand this is in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be buying it tomorrow. Actually, I'd be buying it today. So, it, I can't hold your feet to the fire on this, but a general guess: are we talking months, years,
Oh
decades?
no, it's going to the files are going to be sent to production in about a month, and then we'll have to look at the initial pages so that we get to look at them and see. I mean, when they do the layout, it's so beautiful. And the cover design, I think, is so beautiful on this book, because it just pops out and it makes you want to open the book up. And that's what I love about Stenhouse. They really take the time to create something beautiful that you want to have your hands on. I think probably spring would be my guess, just because we have to go through the production, and we still are working on covers and that sort of thing. But I would
Oh,
think it'll be out before the end of school.
oh, I absolutely want to make a spring uh, date with you and David to talk
Oh yeah,
about that book as well.
that'll be
Okay.
fun.
So normally, as we get toward the end of this kind of a conversation, I say, all right, you've had a chance to tell us all about things, and it's been amazing. But have I failed to give you a chance to say something you really needed to say. So if that's the case, really say it, and
Go
then
ahead.
we'll kind of wrap things up. So
Well,
anything left?
I will tell you this. Last week I was at NCTE, which was in Denver, and presented a session on Friday afternoon um, about phonics. It was the aim of the session was improve your own professional knowledge about phonics. So teachers that were coming to it knew I wasn't going to give them a bunch of activities, although I did because I can't not do something active, but we did some hands-on things and they loved it. But I said, you know, that this is about improving your professional knowledge. That was the script about what the session was about. I had a double room in a ballroom and it was packed. So what it tells me is there's a great need out there for teachers to feel confident in their own personal knowledge about phonics in order to turn around and teach it. And so, in fact, if you do go on my website, which I'll tell you, there, the handout from that session is on the website if you want to look at it, and it really all comes from from the book. But it just told me because when you figure how many teachers were at that session, NCTE doesn't tend to be early childhood. It's usually been middle school, high school, but they've been getting more early childhood, primary, middle grade student teachers there. But to pack the room with people who are teaching phonics, and it was everything from administrators to teachers to professors who have teachers like I did, pre-service teachers. It just tells you that there's that need there for a handbook, something that's going to give you the information you need to turn around and make you successful, and then make your children successful.
Okay, and I'm doing. I hope I don't mess myself up here. Don't we love technology? And don't answer
Yes,
that.
we do.
Okay, so I now have this on dual screen again,
Okay.
and I will hold the book up one more
Thanks.
time. Yes, 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 and with more to come.
Yes.
But my final thought is this: my ears perked up when you said middle school teachers were at your session as well.
Mhm.
So and I remember from our conversations that you saying that their needs about what to learn about phonics are somewhat different than
Mhm.
say the primary teacher, and likewise students at different levels have different needs, and this lets the teacher, first of all, create the knowledge they need to have
Yep.
in their own self, and then help the kids make use of it. So that all said, uh, any last minute sayings, or are we ready to wrap it up here?
I think, I mean, and as you say, those upper elementary people, I think what they're saying is, I still have struggling readers in my class, and they're wanting me to teach them phonics to improve that, but I don't know it because that was never part of my gig, you know? And so I think this is really a book for anybody who and if you're trying to help a struggling reader, or if you're teaching new readers, whatever your place is, if you're teaching teachers, there's something in the handbook to help you do that job better.
Okay. Well, there's one last thing that always happens at a Bomberito interview, and that is we end with the Zoom wave goodbye.
Oh,
But before we do that, I have an apology. The new headset, which was necessary for technical reasons, it hasn't lent itself to the hat yet. So
oh,
this could turn out to be this could turn out to be a unique thing. It could be the only interview I've ever done without the
my
hat.
honor. It's
Yeah.
my
So
honor.
see, so everyone pretend the hat is still here, and now
Yes.
we have to do the Zoom wave goodbye, which means a nice smile, and we're going to say goodbye, everybody. See you soon.
Goodbye. Thanks, Sam. It was great.
Okay.